All right, what is going on, Ravens flock, and welcome back here again to another episode of the Ravens Way podcast. Joining me, as always, is Voss. Voss, how are we feeling during this wonderful bye week?
Pretty good, pretty good. They took care of business in LA, our Ravens. So wasn't necessarily a pretty game, but a game they needed to grab. 9-3 into the bye, 4 games remaining. Time to get healthy. Hopefully some of these players have been dealing with nagging things for a long while now, most of the season. But overall, pretty good. How about you?
I am feeling good. Not the statement win I thought that could have been had, but a win nonetheless. So, feeling good. Hopefully, these guys, like you said, to your point, can rest up a little bit. Matty B can rest up from what was looking like a concussion.
Yeah.
Some other players with some Marlon resting up, Odell with the shoulder injury. Plenty of guys that need a little.
Ronnie,
Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of OA. Sure, and just rest in general.
Yeah, exactly. They played 11 games, or I keep saying that 3 games in 11 days over that span, and they come back and they go cross country. So rest definitely is needed for a couple of those guys. And
what's up, Chris?
So I'm feeling good. How we doing, Chris? So yeah, I'm feeling good.
Okay, so let's give a couple quick thoughts on this previous game before we jump into the all 22 takeaways on offense.
Offensive line, left tackle Ronnie Stanley wasn't pretty at all. And to our point earlier, we just made a second ago, him getting healthier and him being more confident and setting a deep anchor is going to be important for the Ravens over the next couple of weeks and over the playoff stretch. The rushing offense is still fine, still good, still works.
Number 1 in the league.
Yeah, Keaton Mitchell is really still really good. Gus Edwards, unfortunately, did not get 3 touchdowns like I predicted. But I guess no one. Well, Zay got kind of close, but now that was a rushing touchdown as well for Zay.
He had 2. Zay had 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I think offensively they left a lot to be desired. But I don't know. They didn't have an off game for a while, so I guess this is just an off game.
Yeah, tough game on the road in prime time, cross country. Chargers are a good team. They had dominant player on each side of the ball. Khalil Mack really did a number on the Ravens tackles. Certainly something to be concerned about. I am concerned about that, but I'll save some of my thoughts on that for our final segment. The third down offense was not as efficient as it has been for most of the season. I think it's probably somewhat attributable to the loss of Mark Andrews. So, but you get a couple explosive plays there. You get your explosive run from Zay to put it away, and pair that with a solid defense, and we'll see how we go. But I do think the offense has some bugs to work out during this bye week.
Absolutely.
How about defense?
And real quick to put a knot on the offense, they do need that growth. They need to grow with the wide receivers and being able to push the ball in the intermediate. They really haven't done that a lot this year, at least in the past couple of weeks. They did it early in the season, then it kind of went away. And I just think that's something they have to do. They have to be able to push the ball in the middle of the field, push the ball downfield. And, last game, there was a lot of screens, a lot of checkdowns, a lot of tunnel screens, and that's fine and dandy to stretch out the defense horizontally, but eventually you got to take advantage of that and go vertically, and they just they weren't doing it. So
that's what Todd Monk was brought in to do,
exactly.
Right, for the most part. So yeah, so let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. Not a whole lot to critique there, I don't think. 4 takeaways, just hard hitting. Did a pretty good job on Keenan Allen, I thought, and pass rush was really great. Jadeveon Clowney with the play of the game.
Yeah, definitely a really good job by the defense. Mollett gets that pick there, so shout out to him for getting the pick on the Hail Mary.
And the final play where he forced the incompletion on the slot blitz.
Yeah, and talk about a guy that just is good at football. He's just good at football. But yeah, I'm feeling good about the defense. Defense did their job, did it plenty enough, and they did it for 4 quarters, which is the most important thing. They went out there and they made that stop there at the end of the game, which I'm sure we're gonna have a nice little conversation on the Zay Flowers clip.
Yeah, what do you think they should have? Do you think Zay should have stopped at the 1 yard line area? I'm not sure if anyone's heard your thoughts on that yet this week.
Don't worry, that clip's coming up, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. But yeah, the defense did its job, did well. Kyle Hamilton is a superstar in this league, and I am so glad that I bought his jersey when I did. And I have a prototype, like you said, boss. I have a prototype, long defensive backs: Jimmy Smith, Kyle Hamilton. I am thinking about buying a Zay Flowers jersey now after all this debacle. Just because, but.
You've had the Midas touch. You've had the Midas touch. With every game you go to, Lamar wins, and every jersey you buy becomes an All-Pro player recently. So, yeah, I think you should. I think you should spring for Flowers. Why not?
Yeah, why not? So
little holiday present.
Yeah, the only negative I would have for the defense is Rashawn Slater definitely eliminated Owe for a significant amount of the game. That happens. He's a good offensive tackle. I think Rashawn Slater just it's tough. It's Owe can't, and he can't be good every single game. He's not going to have 8 great games in a row. He's a young developing player. And he had a couple nice reps in run defense and all that stuff. But I think Rashawn Slater, to give the Chargers their credit a little bit, Rashawn Slater is still very much good at football.
Yeah. He's battled some injuries this year, earlier in the year, if I recall. And that's a good reason why you want to have more than one apex pass rusher when you run up against those teams with those really high-end, left tackles. You got somebody to attack their weakness on the other side. So without further ado, should we go to the film review? Your result 22 film review?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Oops. Did I delete it? There it is. Okay. Can you see it?
Yep. So thankfully, oh, there we go. Thankfully, this week around, I did not have to reshare everything. It just let me do it through the computer. So
right. We're coming up in the world.
Yeah, we're dialed back in. Boss.
That's it. All right. First play. Best play on offense, probably, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. And they have not been working a lot this year, but obviously you're here towards the end of the game. Zay Flowers jet sweep. This ball almost doesn't get handed off. It kind of was like slightly delayed handed off, and you'll see once the angle switches. But Zay Flowers is a very explosive player. You get him out in space, he will make plays. He did it at Boston College. He does it again in the NFL. So yeah, felt good about the play, and I'll save my referendum for the end once you give your piece on this.
Yeah, he just makes that one-man miss and he's gone. I think the chance of scoring a touchdown was something ridiculously low according to ESPN on this play, but they needed a clutch play and he made it. So let's hear what you had to say about the decision to punch it in instead of trying to grind clock.
There's a lot of things, and I'll start off with you drafted Zay Flowers to score touchdowns. Mm-hmm. You didn't draft him to go down at the 1 yard line and be you draft him to score points. The offense's objective is to score points, and the defense's objective is to stop the other opposing offense from scoring points. And so far this year, that defense has actually, since 2020, that is one of the worst defenses in football at stopping other teams and scoring points in fourth quarter situations. So I am team go out there and make that defense get out there and get other reps. I don't get why we have to coddle that defense and say no. Don't put them back out there. We're up 10. We are up 10. There's a minute and 30 seconds left. The scenario in which the Chargers would come back is a 1 in a million things. I'm like, oh, didn't they do that a couple weeks ago? You mean to tell me that out of 250 something games played so far that, oh, you can remember one scenario that happens? That tells you how unlikely it is because you can only remember one scenario off the top of your head. So I'm all for Zay Flowers running this football in the end zone. The defense's job is to go out there and stop him. And that defense, and all due respect to Mike McDonald and all the players in that defense let Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns absolutely trample them just a couple weeks ago. So for my take, and in the playoffs, guess what? The defense is going to probably do its job against somebody, and they're going to need to go out there and get another stop anyway. Do you think Mahomes with a minute and 30 left, and your offense is up 2 scores, you think Mahomes is going to croak over? He's probably not. He's probably going to go out there and push the ball downfield and try and score on you. So, I just think it's ridiculous that like people are like, oh, it's not football. There's football is scoring touchdowns. Offense is defined by scoring points. That is football. Football isn't win probability and all these stupid data points that people want to bring up. I think it's great. I think we drafted Zay Flowers to score touchdowns. If you didn't want him to score a touchdown there, go draft the fucking offensive lineman. Like, whatever. It's just crazy. It's like it's so crazy that the two people have different opinion about this, and like the other side is like.
I could see both sides, but there's definitely
I see both sides, but like
I hear you. Preach.
Yeah.
You want to be battle tested going into the playoffs, and the defense has had some problems holding on to leads this year, so I could definitely see that. And if you can't hold on to the 10-point lead there, it's like when they go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and short when the offense needs it, and they could have kicked the field goal. And the coach gets on the podium and says, "Well, if we couldn't have picked that up, we didn't deserve to win." If the defense can't hold a 10-point lead with that little amount of time remaining, you don't deserve to win.
Exactly. Exactly. If you can't hold a 10-point lead with a minute and 30 seconds left, don't come home. Do not come home. But that was my last. I had to get that off my chest because I've literally been thinking about that for a couple days just because of the interaction with me and Jeff. I was like, all right,
yeah. I mean, no, I hear you. And some, in the heat of the moment in the game, you're not expecting to score a touchdown from that distance. So anyway, did I go back to the same play again?
No, we're in the next play. We're good.
Oh, okay. Looked like the same formation.
Yeah. So here, a negative highlight: Ronnie Stanley, like we pointed out earlier, just kind of getting bulldozed around by Mac for a majority of the game. And this was on back-to-back reps as well. This was, I think, the second of them. It may have been the first, but it's just tough. It's tough. It's tough as a quarterback that you want to push the ball downfield and you have your left tackle get absolutely burnt like that. And also, Justice Hill here in protection, not really giving a lot of help here with this chip. So it's a tough play.
Yeah, I agree. And Ronnie beat Khalil off the ball there, and I don't think he can anchor. I don't think he can anchor anymore. I think it's that he never had a great anchor. He used to get give Lamar that bump pressure, even in 2019 when he didn't give up a sack all year. That was never his strength, and I don't know. It just seems like you can't anchor, so then you keep getting rolled up on. And then then you're hurt, so you can't anchor, and then you get rolled up on, and it's just knee problem, and an ankle problem, and a knee problem, and a shoulder problem. I don't have too much more to say there, but it's a concern for sure.
There was a play earlier in the game where he was literally, and it was funny because I was watching Spencer and Jake's podcast, and Spencer said Ronnie Stanley's like a bowling pin out there. How many times he just falls over? And earlier in the game, he just gets his legs taken out from under him. I'm like, wow, it's just like a bowling pin. So,
yep, no doubt. And here is the other big score of the game.
Yeah, so a lot of things. a lot of things make this play right for us. And we'll start off with the Ravens really haven't ran play action under center from in the red zone. And that's a good counter to them constantly pounding the football. And with Gus Edwards is to run some under center play action. And then the other thing that makes this play, well, there's two other things. The other thing that makes this play work is Rashad Bateman is going to set a pick over the middle of the field a little bit, trip up that defender just a tiny bit right there. Derwin James just gets tripped up, prevents him from putting his hand in the pass lane, and then Zay Flowers also wins his one-on-one. So 3 things make that play work. Also, some good protection by the offensive line. Also, this is out of 12 personnel. And like I've said on this podcast a lot of times, that the Ravens would be pretty – their most efficient formation, in my opinion, is going to be passing the football to 12 personnel. And then Dan Reese also posted that stat, and they're 3rd in the league out of 12 personnel in passing. So an efficiency that I hope they can take advantage of in the red area. But overall, pretty good play.
Definitely. Good play design, and just Flowers just so hard to stick with at the top of his break there. So, yeah, good play. Come on.
All right, flipping over the defense here, highlighting Kyle Hamilton running the quote-unquote alley of the outside zone alley, and beats a really good block from the that wide receiver right there, and just sweeps on through and takes out the running back's legs. So just a very instinctive football play, and not really much else you can analyze besides the fact that just Kyle Hamilton's just Kyle Hamilton. He's good.
He's very good. I think it was Stephen Ruiz or one of the national, film connoisseurs put out a similar clip. It was on this side of the field, but anyway, the point was Hamilton is probably one of the best defenders in the entire league, defending that area of the field, whether it be an outside run play or a screen. That's just really, he uses his length so well and gets off blocks so well. He is kind of the prototype defender for stopping that. And number 6.
Yeah, so we talked about this last week, and it was funny. The Ravens Wired talking about, and I'm making sure this is the right clip. Yeah, the Ravens Wired talking about Travis Jones not getting a sack. And then here you go. The next week, everybody, Travis Jones cashes on in. He is, and I've pointed out in some of these clips earlier in the year, I think the Colts game was one where he is a naturally strong dude. And just watch the way he just tosses the guard out of the way and just goes out there and makes a sack.
That's Zion Johnson, too. That was Zion Johnson, too. So you're talking about a first-round guard right there. And you just throw him aside with one arm. Exactly. Very impressive. Very impressive. He hasn't maybe had quite the breakout year that I thought. Maybe that's still coming down the stretch. Just hasn't necessarily gotten the snaps because the guys ahead of him are playing so well. But definitely been a big asset. Their 3rd best defensive lineman, I think, pretty easily this year.
Definitely. And then the next play is a Broderick Washington sack. We had a little bit of concerns about him being on the inactive list last week. So just good to see him get out there, be a quick defensive lineman, not be so much of a run defender, and make a sack, make a pressure, and go out there and kind of wreck the game a little bit. He played pretty well against the run in this game, I thought. And I also thought that obviously here he provides some interior pressure. So nice stunt as well.
Yes, that's what I was going to. What a nice pick stunt by Travis Jones there. Just took out 2 guys like he was setting a screen in a basketball game.
Absolutely.
Watch that one more time. And nice job also by Queen here taking away Eckler on the hot route.
Yeah. So I think that just about does it for all the clips, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Sure does. So yeah, good effort there in Los Angeles. It was a long stretch for them coming into this game. I think it was a grind, and they got it done. So I know some people weren't quite happy with the outing, the effort, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Any win against a talented team on the road in prime time, I'll take any day.
Definitely.
So let's transition here. We're going to do a little bit something different this week. Actually, why don't we do our look ahead to the around the league first, and then circle back to Ravens awards? Does that work for you?
Yeah.
I will run through this pretty quickly. Usually, we have quite a bit of predictions and preview of the Ravens matchup, but obviously they're on bye this week. Let's first go to Thursday Night Football. Yuri, what do you have cooking?
So I was looking at it earlier, and I'm feeling. Well, I think the Cowboys are going to win pretty easily. If I like the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys. The only concerning part is the Cowboys haven't beaten anybody with a winning record yet, and the Seahawks are a team with a winning record. So maybe the Seahawks keep it close. It is Thursday night. It is always an ugly slot fest. It tends to be, but a couple plays that I like are Jake Ferguson, the tight end for the Cowboys, to score a touchdown. I like 2 touchdowns, but I don't like it enough to make an official pick. I like Tony Pollard as well to score a touchdown. And then I like CeeDee Lamb to go over 60 yards and 5 receptions. Those are the parlays that I feel comfortable with, picks I feel comfortable with. I think Dallas should win fairly convincingly. But Seattle is also another team that's desperate, kind of like the Chargers were, where if they lose this game, they could probably slip out of the playoff picture. And
yeah, I've had a hard time reading Seattle this year. With Geno being injured and just they've been kind of up and down and consistent. I do think 9.5 might be a bit rich, even if we're a home Thursday night team. So I'm going to do a little parlay, Dallas money line, coupled with CeeDee Lamb anytime TD. You can get that. You can juice that up to 2-1. So, bet 100, win 200 type of deal. That's the one I would go with. Trying to keep it simple, a little more simple. Try to throw like 18 things into a parlay, and you get 17 right and miss the 18th one. It seems to be what I've been doing lately. Around the league, it's a couple weird lines, to be honest. Just kind of not what I would have anticipated looking at it before. One I like is Denver Broncos playing really well on both sides of the ball, to be honest. I mean, they're not lighting it up on offense, but Russ is playing efficient ball. Their defense has rebounded in a huge way from that 70 points they gave up to Miami, in the first month of the season. They are +3 at Houston. I think the Houston Texans, after that game against Jacksonville last week, they're kind of one of those teams that overachieves earlier in the year, and they got a bunch of young players. And this might be the time of year where they kind of start hitting that rookie wall and come a little bit back towards reality again. So I do like Denver +3 at Houston. But my lock of the week, I think there should be a multi-unit play. You have the Eagles hosting the 49ers, and the Eagles are actually +3 at home, which is – I don't understand that line, and I strongly favor the Eagles there.
Definitely, yeah. I feel the Texans one. I do feel like they might regress back a little bit to the mean. Maybe just get a little bit and then fall out of the playoff picture. Just not enough vets in the room maybe for them. But I have thoroughly enjoyed the CJ Stroud experience so far. And I would not be against seeing them continue that. Because they were a missed field goal away from winning. But for me, and I guess all my picks for all the upsets of the week is going to be some variation of the Packers, the Commanders, or the Chargers. One of the three. So I'm not going to change. I could pick the Broncos. I could pick the Eagles. I could pick the Browns over the Rams. But I'm going to go with love is in the air tonight. You've lost that loving feeling. I'm going to take the Packers. The Packers to upset the Chiefs on primetime football, if I'm not mistaken. And Jordan Love is playing really good. That was a massive win on Thanksgiving. They've had a lot of days off. Massive confidence boost. And
the defense is coming around. Green Bay's defense is finally starting to play up to their potential a little bit too.
Yeah, they've always had good players. It was just
right.
Joe Barry was not. He wasn't cooking over there. But now, I'm feeling it. I feel like singing "You've Lost That Loving Feeling." I'm not going to. Maybe next time. Maybe
you've gained that loving feeling. Shouldn't it be why are you losing the loving feeling?
Because that's the song from Top Gun, boss. That's how. You got to stick to the accuracy here.
All right, fair enough. I like it. Hey, the one thing, obviously I would help the Ravens for playoff seeding. So, we're going to be rooting against all the teams that are leading the division right now. Just try to, because the Ravens inter-conference record is not as great as some of the other teams, even though they're the only team with 9 wins. So anyway, let's move on here. We got a bunch of categories we're going to kind of run through. 3/4 of the way through the season. Pretty good idea of how the team has come together. And let's start right at the top. Yori, your offensive player of the year through 3/4 of the season.
It's tough. It's between 2 players for me, and it's Lamar or Gus Edwards. Just because Gus has so many touchdowns, and it's like, without him, do we have that many red zone touchdowns? What happens? Does it get delegated to more passing touchdowns? Does Justice Hill get more carries? It's a tough question, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and go with the stock, the chalk, Lamar, offensive player.
I'm going to go with Lamar as well. It hasn't been a elite dominant season, at least the last few games, maybe. There's really not a whole lot else to look at, though. Mark Andrews was having a good year, but he obviously is out of the picture now. Lamar is the highest graded offensive player, not including Keaton Mitchell, but highest graded offensive player on the Ravens per PFF, which is he's their 7th best quarterback in the league. And he's just the ultimate force multiplier. So I think you have to give it to him there. Let's go to defensive player.
This is tough. Justin Madubuike is absolutely tearing currently. But I might have to go with my guy. I might have to go with my guy. I might have to go with Kyle Hamilton. He's just the coverage ability, Jalen Guyton, to your point, you brought him up last week.
Yeah.
Kyle ran step for step with him and on a deep little flag route. So I'm going with number 14.
That's a good pick. I have the same one. I think he has I've got a couple players playing well, but I think he's a clear notch ahead of them. 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, 9 passes defensed, and a touchdown. He's allowing 2.6 yards per target. That's unbelievable. And I would say I think he is the linchpin potentially of the Mike Macdonald scheme. And a lot of people were saying that Roquan was the guy that the straw that stirred the drink last year, but I don't think many remember that was around the same time that Hamilton was starting to be deployed as the nickel defender. So I think it's pretty clearly Hamilton. I really do.
Definitely.
Breakout player of the year. Or the 3/4 year.
Yeah. You got some good options. You got Stevens, you got Owe, you have Travis Jones.
Gino.
Oh yeah, they're completely forgot about him because Marcus Williams is back.
He's still playing about 2/3 of snaps, though, Gino.
Yeah. I'm okay. I had an answer in my head. I'm going to go Gino anyway. You just brought that up. I'm like, wait, I can't forget the guy with 6 interceptions. I feel like that's offered too much value so far. I was originally going to go with Stevens, but 6 interceptions is 6 interceptions.
I'm going Stevens. He's played almost 100% of the snaps at cornerback. He's only allowed 1 touchdown all season, and that was to Jamar Chase in garbage time. Low yards per target, a lot of pass breakups. But really, to me, he has broken out. I mean, we saw Gino had, like, I think 2 picks last year. Gino has made some plays in spurts.
Yeah.
Stevens really hadn't done too much, and then to go from a guy that, showed a couple flashes as an overhang, safety as a rookie and, a couple plays last year as a boundary corner to now you're like every single week, 100% of snaps, shadowing receivers, shadowing, who was it? Chase, I think, right?
Yeah.
Not Chase.
Yep.
Yeah.
No Chase.
I mean, yeah. So that's a big time breakout to me. Let's go to rookie. And you left off Mitchell off the poll on line.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I put Salah in there instead.
I voted for Trenton Simpson because his contributions on special teams have been miraculous.
Yeah, Zay Flowers. I feel like it's a resounding Zay Flowers at the moment.
Excuse me. Sorry for the coughing. Good little seasonal thing. Yeah, Flowers been the number 1 receiver all year, leading the team in yards. He's been, the number 1 receiver as a rookie, so that's pretty impressive. But I do think Keaton Mitchell deserves. He almost, just to be a contrarian, I almost went with Mitchell, 9.3 yards per carry. So that's pretty elite. Best free agent signing. Rocky Scene?
Yeah, Rocky suck.
Rocket Bench.
I think I'm gonna man. It's tough because, like, context wise, Van Noy was signed off the street. Clowney was still available in August. Mollett, I had no expectation of. And then Darby, I thought could have been a nice player.
Yeah. And then you got Beckham, and Beckham on the other side.
Yeah,
he's had a good year. Not $15 million worth, but he's had a fine year.
Yeah. And plus, there's context for him as well that kind of got the deal over the table a little bit with Lamar. So, but per player, I'm gonna stick with my guy. I gotta stick with my guys during these polls. Arthur Mollett, the football sicko, the top G of the week, top G of the year probably. He's still up there in the separation chart. He's still like 4th in the league in separation allowed.
That's a good pick. I'm gonna go with Clowney. 7.5 sacks, second most on the team that currently leads the league. 17 quarterback hits, both career highs. He is 8th in the league in pass rush win rate per ESPN, which is better than TJ Watt. So one of my least favorite players of all time. Yeah. So $2.5 million to get basically, like a prime age Terrell Suggs, type of contribution. I may go down in history as one of the Ravens' best. I think he's a straight up Pro Bowler. I mean, I think he impresses me so much every single week. So let's flip the page because we're not only rainbows and sunshine over here, disappointment of the year.
We aren't Purple Patrol, really?
No, we're Purple Patrol. We're just not rainbow and sunshine.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly. We are Purple Patrol. Disappointment. Now, this isn't free agent only, right? This is just anybody?
Anybody.
You
want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Well, the layup is Ojabo, but he's been hurt, so it's hard. You got to kind of.
You had expectations for him?
I had expectations of him to be a decent pass rusher. I mean, basically to fill maybe like the role that Kyle Van Noy did. And of course, disappointment is all based on your priors, your expectations. You could say Ronnie Stanley's a disappointment. You could say Marlon Humphrey. You could say a lot of people. There we go, G. We're like purple detectives. I like it. I'm going with Rashad Bateman. He has literally disappointed me this year. He's had some untimely drops. He's had a lack of involvement overall in the passing game. He only has 236 yards and one touchdown on the season. He has a 58 PFF grade. And the one thing that really has been disappointing is his lack of explosive plays. His longest play on the season is 29 yards, which is one of the lower totals on this year. And Lamar Jackson has his worst passer rating throwing to him between all of Lamar's primary targets. I like Bateman. I don't think he's a bust or anything. I think he's a talented guy, but his production has been disappointing.
That's fair. Ojabo has not been disappointing. I'm sticking my priors on that one. Kind of expected him to not really. That's a whole different conversation. But Stanley, he did play fine for the first couple of weeks. He wasn't terrible like now. But this is a 3/4 of the season's award, not the past 3 weeks award. So disappointment relative to my expectation. Man, I'm thinking.
Rock.
No, I didn't like
No,
it.
you weren't. Yeah, that's right. You were off.
Rock. I guess, and maybe it's not his fault, but it's tough though because like when he has played. I'm leaning Marlon Humphrey just a little bit just because he hasn't even played a lot of games. And I was hoping that he may have been healthy for this year, but he's probably going to come back here healthy after this bye week and go rip off, decent games. He's not terrible. So for final answer, I think I'm going to ride your coattail a little bit, Voss. And maybe it's not even his fault technically. He has been getting open per all the separation charts, but just Bateman hasn't produced. He hasn't, and to Garnett's point here, he hasn't also been involved in the progressions. And I think maybe a little more of like a coming together point is like he should get involved more. I think that's important. He should get more routes over the middle of the field.
Garnett's saying they should put him at the Z more. I agree. The thing was he had chemistry with Lamar the first half of last year, and he was taking slants to the house and one of the most explosive receivers in the league till he went down. Maybe it's just the foot. I don't know, but it has been disappointing. Let's go to coach of the 3/4 year.
I gotta go with it's tough. It's tough. It's a defensive coach, obviously. I always felt like Mike McDonald could get to this point. I felt like Coach Chuck Smith that they hired. He really has worked wonders. He's worked wonders on Owe. He's worked wonders on Clown. He's worked wonders on everybody that came in. Just an absolute savant of outside linebacker coaching. Yeah,
he was my honorable mention, and my choice is Coach Mike McDonald, a guy that some people think is a lock to get a head coaching job. I'm not quite so sure, even though he might be the best schematic DC. It doesn't mean he translates to being the managerial responsibilities of a head coach. Anyway, he's just made the defense greater than the sum of their parts. The injuries, Ojabo, Owe, Barlow, Marcus, he's overcome it all, and he just has them just everything synced in on all three levels, just playing great. So it has to be him for me. Best win of the year.
Best win of the year. Hey, Garnett Weaver.
Honorable mention. Yeah, honorable mention Weaver for sure.
Absolutely. I put him out in that poll as well. Weaver has most definitely gotten Madubuike and Michael Pierce, who is still, we didn't have him in any of these polls, but he has most definitely been a rock solid player in the middle. Biggest win of the year.
Best win.
Best win.
I'll go with Detroit. I don't think Detroit's that great, but they don't really have a whole lot of signature wins. I mean, Cincinnati with an injured Burrow, Cleveland with an injured Watson. So I'm going to go with Detroit just because they dominated them so thoroughly. Season high 357 passing yards and a final score of 38-6 against a team that might not. They definitely have some flaws, but they're still highly positioned in the NFC.
Right. Signature win. Man, it's tough because I don't like picking the basics, like picking Seattle, or any other game that they smack somebody. I'm I'm gonna go with the first Browns game that we played in Cleveland. I know it wasn't their starting quarterback, but I felt like that was one of the games that they played 4 quarters from both sides of the football. Offense scored 4 touchdowns and 4 red zone trips. Defense was absolutely stout. That was a dominating football game from start to finish.
Yeah, good choice. I think that's a good choice for sure. Best defense in the league. Hopefully they get some signature wins in the next few games. You beat Miami.
They all
basically
all the games out maybe outside of the Rams are going to be games that are quote unquote signature wins.
Definitely agreed. Worst loss to me has to be Week 5 in Pittsburgh. First of all, just hate losing to Pittsburgh. Just only scored 10 points in that game. Drops, mistakes, special teams mistakes, and just that blown fourth quarter lead. I mean, you let Pittsburgh score 14 points, I think, in the fourth quarter. Marlowe gives up that touchdown to Pickens. That was kind of a gut wrencher to me. I think that was clearly the worst one.
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough. I think the Colts loss was like I could bear that one. The Steelers one was most definitely frustrating. But the one that I was most upset at was the Browns one.
Really?
Especially learning after the fact that Watson was playing on one shoulder and he just went out there and went 14 for 14 in the second half. Just kind of put it on him, start letting him twerk. It was just ridiculous. The fact that the Ravens got so out physical that game. To me that makes it the worst loss because they were once again so close to closing out another 14-point second half lead, and then it just all crumbles away. So that one was the most I was frustrated afterwards. I'm like, okay, let's have some decorum here.
There we go. Yeah, I think that's you have good rationale there. I was thinking that Cleveland kind of deserved to win that, but you're right. 14-point lead. We're going to wrap up here with one reason for optimism and one reason for pessimism on each side of the ball, and let's do the offense first, Jerry.
Both sides of the ball, correct? Like optimism and pessimism for each side of the ball.
One for each. Yep.
My optimism for the offensive side of the ball is that they have the talent they need. All the players are in place. And the Ravens can still run the football pretty effectively. You still have Lamar Jackson who can make plays off script. And that will translate come playoff time. The pessimism I would have for the offense is that they can't pass protect with a 5. It just not happening. Just Ronnie Stanley, Patrick McCarry, doesn't matter who's out there. It's just not happening. And in the next couple of games, this Jags pass rush isn't that bad. It's decent. Josh Allen's playing really, really well. Trayvon Walker is a highly touted drafted football player who's drafted number 1 overall. You have Chase Young, Nick Bosa. You have, unfortunately, the Dolphins went down Jalen Phillips, which we'll get to that with the preview of that one. But they may have ticked it just a tiny bit in the Ravens' favor.
They still have Chubb. And
Chubb?
They still have Chubb, Brad Chubb.
Yeah. And they just signed JPP, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think Trayvon Walker's on the Jadeveon Clowney development plan, by the way, and I hope that Costa can get him in about 7 years for $2.5 million. That's and he can have all pro season.
Yeah, and to Garnett's point as well, we really haven't seen our best game offensively either. I don't think we've played a complete game offensively. Um, but just my
Detroit,
last,
maybe Detroit.
I don't think so. Um,
Okay.
I think the last thing I'll say offensively for pessimism is just health. A lot of guys on offense have struggled with health. Stanley, Beckham, Bateman, Andrews is done. Lamar struggled with health. So staying healthy over this stretch of games, that could be a pessimistic.
Yeah, for pessimism on defense, I agree with you. Ronnie Stanley and left tackle is really the big one. But I think kind of coupled with Lamar just not feeling quite comfortable. I don't know if it's the offense and the progression, but it just doesn't, when the pocket's collapsing, we've seen him other times be a little bit more in control or just efficient, surgical. So hopefully they can get that back. Reason for optimism for me is the explosive plays. We talked about that a lot when we first started this podcast up. In the offseason, they were among the lowest in explosive plays. They weren't getting a lot of yards after the catch. They were just kind of a station to station offense last year under Greg Roman. Now with the 3 players they've added, I guess even 4 if you want to count Aguilar, but Beckham, Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers, and Keaton Mitchell. You have some guys that can rip off some chunk plays, some explosives in the postseason. When you're either trying to boat race a team or you're trying to chase points. Either way, that's very helpful. Let's flip it to the defense before we get out of here. One optimism and pessimism.
One optimism. Mike McDonald is the defensive coordinator, and he has these guys, to your point earlier, just jacked up, ready to play. There are not a lot of blown assignments. I even looked back, and the only blown assignment I've seen so far was in the Chargers game where Gerald Everett was wide open. But I think that's something that was correctable. It looked like on that play, it looked like it was going to be either cover 3 or quarter half, and someone didn't rotate back, and then they kind of got mumbled up down below with Stevens and Hamilton. But optimism, the Ravens have, once again, they have the players. They are a well-rounded defense, and that should translate come January. I don't think there's going to be another game where someone just tramples them, at least in the playoffs. Now, coming here in the regular season, we'll see. But my reason for pessimism is that the Ravens don't have an apex pass rusher, and they don't have that front defensive lineman. And Matty BK has a lot of sacks, but a lot of them are also on stunts as well.
Or cleanup.
They don't have that guy that quarters 1 through 4, a Myles Garrett, a Nick Bosa, a Micah Parsons, the guy that lines up and just keeps getting after it and absolutely wrecking game plans. They have some game records. I don't think they have the guy to be consistent. So that is my reason for pessimism. But I don't even feel great about that reason because I still think I really do like this defense.
I think that's really good points. First of all, noting that the lack of blown assignments, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that because you don't compare it necessarily if they're not blowing them. Clowney has been that, but you're right. He doesn't play every snap. He's more of a specialist, even though he is very efficient. To me, the potential reason for pessimism on defense, twofold, I guess. The defensive line has had a heavy workload, especially about BK and Pierce, and I am slightly concerned that they're going to hit a wall at the worst possible time. Hopefully, that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, the pass rush is very dependent on scheme, and if you're not getting good penetration out of your tackles, that can be picked apart by some game planning and some elite quarterbacks. The reason for optimism is that their pass defense is lights out. They have maybe the best pass defense in the entire league. Just a blend of scheme and personnel, just working together at all 3 levels. With you have your third safeties up there with interceptions. Marcus Williams looks like he's back to his good days. You're going to get Marlon back. You got Owe coming on. We have Noy coming on. You got Travis Jones coming on. So I think the pass defense is something they can pack up and carry with them into the postseason and at least slow down some of these passing attacks. So I think that's about it. I got one more question for you. I didn't prepare you for this one. All right. So, before the season, we make our predictions. And now we're 3/4 of the way. How do you see the Ravens season ending?
Mm-hmm. Confetti and confetti.
Confetti.
Yep.
Okay. Purple and white confetti?
Yes. Purple and white, purple, white, and gold confetti in Las Vegas. That's how I see it ending.
I like it. I like that. I have them covered in confetti too, but green and white confetti because I think they lose to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But still, just make it to the Super Bowl, I think will be pretty good.
Hey, our picks. Mine was the Ravens and the Cowboys, and yours was the Ravens and the Eagles. So
yeah,
we're riding that till the end, February.
We are. I don't know. You think they could go 3-0 in Super Bowls? I feel like at some point you get to the Super Bowl, you're not going to win them all, right?
Well, it's funny because before the season, I said if the Ravens lost in the Super Bowl, I'd be okay with it. But that wasn't.
And now you wouldn't.
No, I still am.
Okay.
That wasn't as receptive to some other people. But boss, I have a question for you.
All right. Hit me.
If you had to sign one, I think I know what you're going to say here. Zach Ertz or Ndamukong Suh? Which one of the two?
Ndamukong Suh. Zach Ertz can't run. Yeah.
The Ravens' target share of Mark Andrews going out was kind of like and this is terrible. But before the season, I kind of felt like Mark was due for like one of those injuries that kind of took him out. And that may have been a little bit of Kolar bias, whatever. But I felt like he was kind of due for him going down and the offense needed to grow around him. And you don't bring in a 32-year-old tight end and kind of stunt that growth a little bit and just have another guy out there to get that needs targets and
so you can get 4-yard crossing routes and just gum up the wheels of your offense. No, I don't know that at all.
Yeah.
Owen Daniels, remember Owen Daniels? Remember Owen Daniels? They brought him in one year to kind of be Flacco's security blanket.
That was Kubiak.
2015. Was it 14 or 15?
I thought it was Kubiak.
All right. Might have been Kubiak then. He was actually decent. I don't even think
he was good.
I don't know. Ertz is done. And you don't need a possession receiver. You still have enough possession targets. I think that's the one thing about Bateman that has been a positive is he's converted a lot of first downs this year.
Yeah, Ertz. Garnett's Kubiak.
Because he came with the Texans. It makes sense now, yeah.
Yeah. Ertz had the week 1 of the year, he had 6 catches for 21 yards. And his average over the year, a lot of his games, I think only one game he had more than 10 yards a catch per average.
All right, final. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let Kolar cook. Right, Glass, let Kolar cook.
Let Kolar cook. I let Kolar cook. I'm ready for it. All right, this is a freestyle. We'll end it on this. What player that was injured do they miss the least?
What player that was injured? Who, for the Ravens?
Yeah. Do they miss the least?
Who do they miss the least?
I'll give you a clue. His first name is 2 initials.
2 initials. You can pick 2 of them.
No. I'm saying J.K. Dobbins. J.K. 2 initials. I remember how everybody was so worried. Oh my God, what's going to happen? There's no J.K. Dobbins, and now they have the number 1 rushing offense, and their UDFA is ripping off 10 yards a carry. So I would say that J.K. Dobbins is the guy they missed the least.
Hey, look, he held out during training camp. He made this whole big statement, and then he went out there and blew his knee out week 1. So I was gonna go. Garnett has a point. I was gonna go with Bowser. I was going to go with Bowser or Job. I wasn't even thinking about JK because
Pepe's too. Pepe's too, because then if Pepe was healthy, then your boy Mollett wouldn't have been getting as much run probably.
That is true, but Pepe is just he's got a cool name and he wears number 22. You should take that fucking football number off. That's what happened. He's disgracing that number.
I know they should have retired it with Dwayne Starks, but yeah. Anyway, I think that's about it, bro.
Yeah. The game starts here in 15 minutes. We will see you guys next Thursday for the Rams preview. Trying to think here some bye week housekeeping before we get out of here, boss.
Yeah.
Does Tyus Bowser, to go on that point, does Tyus Bowser come back and play this year?
No, I don't think so. He hasn't even. I don't think done like pre-practice calisthenics since like minicamp, before minicamp, and apparently Harbaugh said his knee is angry, and my knee is angry at his cap hit. But actually, they're getting that credited back, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, we're getting the money back. The scamming is being reversed.
Take the money and run. That's a good song. Take the money and run.
Hopefully, Ronnie Stanley will have that happen. We get the money back. It's like Amazon. I just had this package from Amazon. I returned it November 1st. I still haven't got the refund. So maybe we can get the refund on Ronnie Stanley this offseason somehow. I thought you were going to say they delivered the package and then you told them it didn't come and they refunded you and you got something for free. No, that's too. They don't roll like that. They don't roll like that on the Eastern Shore. It's too spread out. Probably they know where they drop the packages over there. I'm not on the Eastern Shore either. I'm down under. Down under. There you go. But we'll see what happens. Who do you least want to play in the postseason? I'd love to play Kansas City. I'd love to see them. I don't have a problem seeing them, but it's like one of these resurging teams that I'd be afraid to play. Like if Buffalo put it together, actually no. We beat the fuck out of Buffalo. I don't know. Miami's like teetering. Like if Jalen Phillips was still playing and they get the ball out quick and the Ravens like counter to being the Ravens defense is getting the ball out fast and you have good fast football players. I don't think anybody, to be honest with you, there's no one. I think it'd be an NFC team. It'd be like Philly, the team that was more talented than us. I'd be like, okay, I don't want to play them. Yeah, Philly is more talented. I'm probably the only one that's clearly more talented. I don't want to play Miami. You got two game breakers. We saw what they did to the Ravens defense last year. And then with Ramsey back now, and Jalen Ramsey's, I think he has like 3 interceptions in 2 games or something crazy like that. And we saw what they did to the Ravens offense in that Thursday night game a couple years back with all that zero blitz. And that would be the one team that I'd rather KC took care of before we matched up with the Chiefs or something. Yeah, Garnett said that he's scared of Miami, especially if AJ gets back to what he was doing. Oh, A-Kane was back. A-Chain, yeah. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Hope everybody enjoys their bye week and hits all their parlays. Yeah, hopefully I had a parlay tonight. I have a couple lottery tickets. Hopefully, Dallas just needs to score 56 points. That's all that needs to happen. Yeah, 56. I like that number. Appreciate everybody for joining. Favorite 56 in Ravens history. Favorite 56. I'm gonna say Edgerton Hartwell. I think was 56. Ray Lewis his first running beat at inside backer. Daryl Smith was 54. McLean was 53. There was like an offensive lineman somewhere, and there was a 56. Don't we have a 56? No, David Sharp, favorite 56. Oh, I got it right. Hartwell was 56, dude. Well, God, he was drafted. He was drafted in the 2001 draft, and I remember his number. That's wow, pretty good for an old man like me. Garnett, Bynes, Voss. I think Hartwell was better than Bynes. Oh, okay. I was an infant, so you weren't born yet. No, I was an infant. Damn it. All right, good. All right, appreciate everybody for joining, Garnett. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Peace.